Love. Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I am a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the energy of the Virgo New Moon of 2019. This Virgo New Moon, this is an interesting new moon. I want to kind of start by addressing the energy of so many placements here in Virgo at this time. We've got Mercury in Virgo, consciousness, mind, and communication. Juno in Virgo, the partnership asteroid. Sun in Virgo, our instincts and identity. Moon in Virgo, needs and emotions. Mars in Virgo, motivation, ambition, and drive. And then we've got Venus here in Virgo as well, everything that we're drawn to. All of these faster moving energies, the personal planets showing up in one sign, in the sign of Virgo, specifically on a new moon, is inviting us to step into Virgoan energy. One of my favorite YouTube astrologers, Rick Levine, described Virgo thus. He said, every season has a sign in that season where you get the most pronounced essence of that season in that sign. And at the peak of summer, before summer turns to fall, we have Virgo, the season where you get the ripest of the fall harvest and the most summer of summer in Virgo season. Virgo often gets a bad rap for being nitpicky or perfectionistic or having the energy of detail oriented to the point of drowning in details. But what Virgo really is, when you look at it in opposition to the other sign here, Pisces, the very last sign of the zodiac, which represents the all, the cosmic energy, the nothingness from which we've sprung, and the everything that we go back to. Pisces being that cosmic soup, what we're looking at here with this Virgoan energy is the ability to step into discernment. Instead of all things, Virgo is the ability to look at one thing, to pluck a thing out of the crowd, name it, and by its separation, give it a meaning that is unique to the one thing. After just having come through the eclipse passage of July and June, what we're seeing is now that the universe has Rubik's cubed our lives and provided significant changes in the world of work, home, family, and relationships, now we are asked to step into an energy here of clarity, of divine wisdom, of divine discernment about what needs to happen next. This would have been the equivalent energetically of taking everything out of your closet and off of your shelves, and then doing one of those kind of cleanses where you look at each thing and you decide for yourself, am I going to keep this or am I going to get rid of it? Does it go back in the closet? Does it go on the shelf? Does it go someplace else? Virgo, that discerning nature of, is the apple ripe enough to pick, or is it just before ripe and now it becomes sour if I eat it too early, not enough nutrients? Or is it overripe, too late, I waited too long and now it's mushy, still not enough nutrients? Virgo is about understanding right order and right timing when it comes to what we uncovered during our eclipse season changes and over the course of the Lionsgate that we committed to creating. This energy on this particular Virgo new moon is asking all of us to step into the energy of divine discernment, divine wisdom, the divine I know within us as it pertains to what we will do next with everything that happened between now and the end of the year. So there are some that's the overarching energy here. So I wanted to point that out before I dive into specific aspects. For those who have, in their lives already figured out the discipline of creation and manifestation, and I use the word discipline very intentionally. With a discipline, there is a practice, there is a methodology, there are things that you specifically do, and then there are things you choose not to do, so that a thing can manifest. With Virgo, there is that understanding that it comes with a decision, a deciding, and decisions. The word decide is very similar in its origins to words like herbicide, pesticide, homicide, suicide, etc. What that suffix means at the end of that word, suffix isn't the right word, but the base of the word means to kill off, to close a door to, for one thing to no longer be an option because that option is now dead. With all of this energy here in Virgo, for those of us who figured out the discipline of creation and manifestation, you're going to find that this is a time when things fall into place very easily because you already know what to do with your decisions once they are made in order to facilitate manifestation. For those of us still figuring out, how do I manifest things? How do I bring something out of my mind and out of the ether and into the world? This is going to feel like we can see what's needed, but we can't really give it the ignition to start the car yet and go. And that ignition will come as we continue to move through the end of the year. But just notice for yourself, when it comes to making decisions, what is my orientation? To the need to let one thing go so that another thing can live, let one thing die so that another thing can thrive. This is the energy of Virgo. It is knowing what is needed in the order that it is needed at the time that it is needed, because it can't just be everything all the time anyway. That's Pisces energy. Virgo's asking us to be discerning. So what we have going on here, interestingly, we have we have Mars conjunct the new moon at 6 and 7 degrees Virgo right here. And this provides motivation. This provides the internal oomph and the drive to continue on what it is we have decided. This is the motivation to start getting it done. We also have Juno conjunct Mercury in the same sign. And this is coming post the Sun conjunct Juno. And this puts a big highlight with both Sun and Mercury and Moon having conjunct Juno. We had Mars conjunct Juno for an extended period of time. With this energy of Sun having conjunct it, and now Mercury conjuncting Juno, it was very much an energy focus on partnerships, a draw toward partnership, instinct to be in partnership of some capacity, to figure out how to be a better partner, where our partnerships are letting us down, what we need to give to our partnerships to make them work. And now with Mercury in the mix, this is about stepping into the communication. All of that previous energy of focusing on it was happening during Leo season. And that energy of Sun and Juno conjunct, and then Moon and Juno conjunct recently, all of this was really understanding what are our needs and what do we need in order to get back into our throne when it comes to our partnerships. Now, with Mercury in the mix, we've identified the need. We're in Virgo season. It is time to take action that reflects what the need is. So it's interesting because at the same time, we have this Jupiter down here in Sagittarius moving into a square with Neptune and in Pisces, but it's also not a full square. It's super loose. Some astrologers wouldn't even consider this as a T square. There's also a bit of a square going on here with all of this Virgo energy because Virgo squares Jupiter and squares Sagittarius and squares Pisces. With this square energy, what we're looking at here is this energy of tension between what we have decided we will do, what we know we need to do, what we are prepared to communicate we're about to do. There's this energy of tension between that and what it's been in the past. Because with this Neptune squaring this Jupiter, we have all this energy at its lowest octave that is about deception and illusion and disillusionment, and an inability and an unwillingness to see the truth for what it is. It's overexpanded optimism. Well, maybe if I just stay with the way things were, now that the smoke has cleared, perhaps things will just get better. No. That is not what is asked of us. What is asked of us is to take the truth that we have realized and transmute this energy, because this square between Jupiter and Neptune, this is now the third time we have had that happen for us this year. The first time they were both direct, and that would have been in January, where we would have had some opportunity to see where we may have been kidding ourselves as it pertains to something really significant in our life. The second time, Jupiter was retrograde, and this would have been back in June. This is when we might have been overtaken by pessimism the first time and said, wow, I'm really not sure this is going to work. I'm fairly sure I need to sunset whatever this is, likely having to do with partnership in some way, given Juno's now arrival here in Virgo, or perhaps having to do with our work motivations and ambitions, or what we're drawn to with Venus here in the mix. This would have been back in June, some level of pessimism, like, yeah, okay, I got it. This isn't going to work. And it might have been the opposite of the over optimism in January, and it might now be the over pessimism in June. Now we're out here at the new moon in Virgo, wrapping up our August as we head into this September very final square between Jupiter and Neptune. This particular square with Neptune retrograde this time and Jupiter direct, we've got the planet of illusion and disillusion moving into an internal energy, the planet of optimism regaining strength as it moves forward. This time, we are now, with all of this energy and discernment, it's like the blinders have been taken off. We now know exactly what we're dealing with, who we're dealing with, and what needs to be done in order to handle the situation once and for all. This may pertain to very different areas of each person's chart. If you are curious about what this looks like for you in your chart, and where that self-deception, self-illusion may have occurred, and what it is you're being asked to focus on for this Virgo new moon as you define the latter half of this year, the best thing to do would be for us to set up a session. We can do a 1-hour reading for you. The priority list is now open for readings for the second half of September, starting the 16th. Priority listers booked up the entire reading list availability for the first half of September, so unfortunately I can't open that to the public. This has happened the last several cycles, so I urge you, if you would like a reading with me in September, to go ahead and reach out at chrysalismoon@gmail.com. you'll receive an autoresponder with the booking details so we can look at what it is you're being asked to deeply focus on and clean up in your life as you get ready for 2020. Okay, so some of this could have been expressed up until this point as some level of a lack of boundaries or an inability to respect other people's boundaries in the past, other people not respecting your boundaries. This could have been one way that this has really started to make itself manifest. And this Virgo discerning energy, earth sign, physical world, all about physical world realities, boundaries, you would know where this might be happening in your life. But again, if not, we should definitely have a conversation. This is also about having discernment about where we've been unrealistic and need to take action to bring our dreams into fruition. So, opposite all of this energy out here in Virgo, which is about the power to know, the power to discern, the power to point to a situation, name it, give it meaning, and then take action to create our next step. Opposite this energy in Virgo, we've had this building energy out here in Pisces all year long. This energy, let's see. How did I put this in my notes? With Pisces, Neptune, Lilith, and Nessus here. Opposite this Virgo stellium with Saturn sextile Neptune. So Saturn is out here, conjunct the South Node, sextiling this Neptunian energy, and the South Node sextiling it at its lowest octave. This is thinking that we can outmaneuver the basic facts of our reality with manifestation thinking and very little work, simply because we chose what we wanted in our mind, the timeline that we want to live into. Because what Saturn does is Saturn really does bring structure and boundaries into the conversations in our life. At this moment, however, Saturn is retrograde and moving in a reverse energy and revealing for us where things have been out of integrity in our lives. Conjunct the South Node, it is opening our eyes to past situations that have been out of integrity. But simultaneously, for some of us, this is a dissolution of boundaries that in some cases one might need and now need to reassert with others, given all of this trining energy out here in Virgo to Capricorn. In other cases, this is just straight up magical thinking. I will be a millionaire by laying here listening to manifestation recordings on YouTube. Straight up magical thinking. Okay, so this is what's being asked of us at this time, especially with Mars and Saturn's positions, because Mars has just entered Virgo and it's speaking to this new moon very directly. And Saturn is in a trining sign, not an exact trine position, but a harmonious flow of energy. What's being asked of us is to they're showing us where work has to get done in order to get results. In order to get some things we've never had, we need to be willing to do some things we've never done. And that's the energy of this new moon. With Neptune retrograde, we end up having a choice here because Neptune at its lowest octave is illusions and the realm of the unseen world. At its highest octave, Neptune is spirituality and the realm of the unseen world that we co-create with in order to bring manifestations forward. We have a choice, especially that this is Virgo season. The choice is to whether or not we will choose to carry on with the illusion that got exposed in January and in June and in all the time in between. And that will be exposed again this month. We will have the choice to carry on with the illusion or to make new choices and set new boundaries so we can have a new life. Saturn opposing the Lionsgate point by retrograde is also exposing some of the discipline to create what's needed, maybe lacking in some cases. But the awareness of what is needed is upon us with so much energy in Virgo. Uranus trine the Moon Mars conjunction. So here's Uranus out here in Taurus, trining this Moon Mars conjunction. Now, this is a more classic exact conversation. You can see they're both at 6 degrees. Taurus being all about beauty and fertility, in some cases, money. And Virgo being all about discernment and wisdom and health. This gives us a very sudden jolt of motivation to just go, to just make things real. It's the sudden inspiration of what's needed to give the things that we have in our minds and hearts life, to just pull the trigger already. With the North Node in Cancer here, one of the things that's being asked overall as we move through this cycle is how are we going to care for ourselves? And this has been a question that's been on the table all year long. It's going to be here for the rest of the year. North Node in Cancer makes this a year about the energy of caring for ourselves, caring for our connections, caring for our soul family, self-love, and emotional honesty with ourselves. This is now during Virgo season, this is about how are we tending to our dreams and the desires of our hearts, and understanding that these dreams and these desires, especially now with Jupiter direct, are sacred. They've come to us directly from the divine, and they are part of the way the divine communicates with us to move us in the direction and the purpose laid out for our lives. The question that we're being left with is, are we giving those dreams the attention they need, or just the attention that we have left? It's a big season. This Virgo new moon is ushering in the start of some significant choices we have upon us that will set the pace for the next Virgo cycle that we each have in our lives. So give yourself permission and some patience to be reflective on this, to choose well. But one of the wonderful things about Virgo, especially with Mercury and Virgo sitting so close to this moon, is that many of us already know. We already know what it is that we need to do. We already know what it is we want. And we already know what it's going to take to get there. With this Mars conjunct the new moon, it's simply about giving ourselves permission to move in that direction. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like a personal reading with me, please feel free to email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com. We can have a look in your chart where this new beginning and the closing off of certain choices are meant to happen for you instead of otherwise. Because it may not necessarily be in an area of life. It doesn't have to be an area of life or all areas of life at one time. This can actually be something that is more specific and localized depending upon which house Virgo governs in your chart. In this particular example chart, we've got this energy happening in the 12th house. This would be all about a new beginning as it pertains to the way one approaches and pursues their spirituality, and pursues things that have perhaps previously left them in bondage in their own lives. But this for others, if it's second house, may be about money. If it's sixth house, it may be about coworkers and colleagues or health and well-being. If it's ninth house, it may be about schooling. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and like you just don't know where to begin because your whole life could use a new beginning and a reboot, let's have a look at your personal planets and your personal chart and break this down in a way that makes your next steps doable. Again, you can email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com, KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com, and you will receive an autoresponder with booking instructions, now booking into the last 2 weeks of September. Thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing what resonates in the comments.